Okay, I'm Scott. I'm with the Wasatch Altitude Training Center here in Mountain Green. We're going to make a little film clip here today for the karate class so that after class, when you go home and you're practicing this during the week, I know sometimes it's hard to remember, oh, wow, what did the instructor say was an upward block or an inward block? I can't remember which is which. And so we're going to make these film clips. We're going to put them up on the web page so that you can go home, look it up, and you can know which block is right. You can practice correctly. That way when you come back to class the following week, we don't have to go over the same material as much, and that we can progress a little bit better. And hopefully this will help you out there at home. When you're doing these, just like we do in class, I want you to stand in a good horse stance. So that means that your feet need to be a little bit wider than what your shoulders are. Bend your knees. You want your knees out, but you want your toes in just a little bit. So it's like you're sitting on a horse with no saddle, and you've got your toes in there holding yourself on the horse. You want your back to be straight, your hands back and on your hips with your palms up and in a good fist. And also, when you do these blocks, I want you to imagine that your back is up against the wall and you keep your shoulders against that wall so that you are not turning your shoulders. You don't want to roll your body like that. You want to keep your shoulders straight and up against the wall, and that's how we'll execute these blocks. The first block that we're going to work on today is the upward block. Now this one, obviously it's getting its name because we're blocking upward. We're blocking a strike that's either coming in high on our head, or usually it's used against a club that's coming in from above us, so we're going to block upward on that. When we do this block, you want to take your fist from your hip and bring it into the center of your body, almost like you're doing an uppercut punch. And it's going to stop at the center of your body, then it's going to go up the center as your fist turns, and once it gets to about your nose level, it comes the rest of the way across to your head, and it stops just above your head with your palm facing out, so it does that little bit of a roll. So it goes up, it comes here, rolls up. You want to make sure that your arm is on an angle here so that when a blow comes in, that it's deflected. If your arm is squared off like this and you take it, there's a chance that the club's going to come in and hit you here. Also, it's going to really injure you if your hand is there and it takes the full blow on your arm. You could break or injure your arm that way. So we want our arm to end up on an angle like that, okay? Now let me grab a tool here to help us out. So I can illustrate to you a little bit better what I mean about traveling up the center of our body. Let's imagine that we've got a barrier here that travels right at the center of our body, and it's going to go up to about my nose level. Okay, so when we do this block, our hand comes into that barrier and it goes up, and once it reaches the top of it, it goes over the rest of our body, over to the opposite side of our head, and it continues up like that. Now when we do that, obviously we want our hand to come to the opposite side of our head so that we're protecting all of our head from being struck there, okay? So let's do a few of those. I'm going to come over, up, there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four, five, six. That's an easy block, isn't it? There's not a lot to it, and sometimes we make it harder than it really is. It's an upward block. Okay, the next block that we're going to work on is an inward block. Now, when we're doing this block, I want you to keep in mind that anything that travels towards the center of our body, towards this area right here, it's called an inward, okay? So it's an inward block because it's coming into that. It started from this side of our body coming inward. If I was doing a block that came from somewhere towards the center of my body or the opposite side of my body, and it came out, you can see that that's moving away from the center of my body, and so that would be some form of an outward block, okay? Whether it be a vertical outward block or an extended outward block, that makes it an outward block. So this one's called an inward block. It's moving in towards the center of our body. There's a couple things I can do here to help illustrate what I want you to do to make this block correct. First, we need to imagine that there's a box or a square that starts here, that's as wide as our shoulders, comes in front of our body, out to our shoulders, comes out and back in. We're going to take our hand from our ear that's on the same side of our body as what we're doing the strike with, or the block with the palm facing out, away from us, and it's going to come in across that square, and we're going to stop right in the corner of that square. I use a couple of things here. Let's bring this tool back out so we can use that. You'll see that if I take this here, let's imagine that this is the square, or one corner of that square, okay? Something I will frequently do to help illustrate the proper hand motion here is I'll have a student pretend that there's a pen sticking out of their ear. So what they want to do is come up and they want to grab that pen, they want to bring it across and stab it into the corner of that box, okay? I'm going to turn sideways here so you can see that from both angles. I've got the corner of my box here. I come up, I grab the pen, my elbow comes in and it stops, and then I stab the corner of that box. Now, something that's really important here is we want to make sure that when we do that, that our arm stays on this angle when it stops. You can see that that's a 45-degree angle right there. We don't want it to end up like this. If we do, I've got to move my shoulder clear over. Plus, just like that upward block, I'm going to take a lot more shock. So we want that angle. I tell my students frequently that I want you to imagine that's a shield. When we got our shield up, if we straighten our shield out too far, if I block, some people will block and try to push it away. What happens is we lose that shield, and whatever we block comes in and it strikes us here because we've lost our shield. So we need to keep that shield up. So let's do a few of those together. We're going to start with 1, 2, you see that shield? 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now do like 10 of these in front of the mirror at home and do it just that way. Look at yourself in the mirror. Make sure you've got that angle. Make sure that you start with your palm out, then you bring your elbow in, and we drop our hand across and stab into that corner of that square. Now I'm going to have Gabriel come up here, and I'm going to have him do a right punch on me, and we'll see how we block that with an inward block. You can see right there, that's an inward block. Okay, let's do one more of those. Here comes that block. Right there, very good. Okay, thank you, Gabriel. Okay, that's the inward block. We can see that's moving inward. The next block we're going to work on is the extended outward block. Now, like I already explained to you, that's moving out from the center of our body, so that's an outward block. When we're doing this, we're going to take our hand to the opposite side of our face, just like this, with our palm facing our ear or facing that side of our head, and it's almost as if you were putting your hand up to grab your ear, if you can imagine that. So we bring our hand up to there, and then we're going to take our hand over, and we've got that same imaginary square box right here coming off our shoulders. We're going to stab that corner of the box. Okay, before we come to this corner of the box, now we're going to that side of the box. So we take our hand from here, bring it out, and you see our elbow stops right here, but then our hand continues on. And can you see that same 45-degree angle right there? I've got my shield up, don't I? That's going to protect me from anything coming in right there. That's pretty simple to do. So we're going to take that and bring it over, okay? So let's do 6 of these together. We're going to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's the extended outward block. Extended outward. And you see how my hand extends out beyond that square just a little bit. That's for the extended part of that. Let's have Gabriel come in real quick. I'm going to have him do another right punch, and you'll see how we do this. I'm going to take this up, extend it out, and I block that punch right there. Let's do one more, Gabriel. Okay, we're going to step back and block. And you can see that that's a good, solid block to Gabriel. Thank you. Okay, so we've done our upward block. We've done our inward block, we've done our extended outward block. Let's do a downward block. This block starts at the same spot that the extended outward block started. It starts up here by our opposite ear with our palm facing our ear. And it's a downward block, so we're blocking down. We're going to take this and sweep it across our body, and it's going to stop out right in front of our knee, but you need to make sure you go to the outside of your knee. If you stop at the inside of your knee, you can see that there's part of my body there that's not protected, or that I didn't stop that kick from. So if I was blocking a kick and I only went this far, their foot's going to come and hit me in the knee. We don't want to go too far out beyond our knee, because when we do that, we're wasting motion, and also we're opening up our body for other things to be hit. You can see if my hand's clear out here, I've left a lot of targets on my body exposed. But if my hand's right here, if my arm's right there where I can take care of another block or kick or whatever comes back in. Okay, so we're going to take that. Let me turn sideways here a little bit. If I do that same block, you can see it stops out in front of my knee just a few inches on that angle. Okay, so let's do 6 of those together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This block's almost like a hammer. That's coming in there, he's going to hammer that. Let's have Gabriel come back in here. He's going to do a right kick straight at me. I'm going to step back, I'm going to block. And you can see how solid that is. That looks very good, Gabriel. Thank you. Okay, so we've done quite a few blocks there now. We've got that downward block. Let's go to the vertical outward block. That block starts in the same position. Now, I've already explained to you, it's called a vertical outward block. I've explained to you that because it's moving away from the center of our body, that's what makes it an outward block. Also, it's called a vertical block. We know vertical means straight up and down. Our arm ends up in this position. You can see that it's straight up and down here. It's going to start from where our last block ended, out in front of our knee in the same spot. We're going to sweep in front of our body. We want to come up level with the top of our head and come to a stop right there. Our arm should form a square off of our shoulder. Also, there should be a square here out to our arm. You can see how that's on that angle. You don't want to go higher than your head because we don't need to. We just need to protect our body. We don't need to protect higher than our body. Okay? And when we do that also, you can see that that can open up other targets right here. So we're going to keep it right there. Okay? So let's do a few of those. We're going to start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's have Gabriel come in here. I'll have him do a right punch on me. I'm going to do the vertical outward block so you can see how that works. And step back. Vertical outward block. I don't need to go beyond my body. I want to stop right up square in front of my shoulder right there. Because right there it's going to protect me and I don't need to go any further. Okay, let's do that one more time. Also, go ahead, Gabriel. On this, you could use this against the kick, and we do sometimes. If he does a high straight kick coming in at me, go ahead, Gabriel. I can step back, and you can see that block coming in there, and you can follow up with the kick. Okay, that's the vertical outward block. We have one more block left for the yellow belt block. So that's pretty simple. We've gone through this quick. It's the easiest block for most people to learn. It's called a push down. And just like the name implies, our hand's going to come up here. It's open. You want to make sure that your thumb is close into your side. You don't want to get that thumb out there because when you do, especially in the heat of a fight or with your sparring or something like that, your thumb can get caught on your clothes, it can caught on your belt, and you can hurt your thumb. You can dislocate it or break it. So you want to make sure you get in the habit. When you've got an open hand, keep your thumb up there, okay? So you can see how my thumb is right there. I'm going to take my hand, and it stops right up in front of my chin. I'm going to push down to about my belt level. When I'm doing this, I'm mostly pushing with the palm of my hand right here, not with the top of it. But I want that part of my hand, which is more solid, to make most of the contact with whatever I'm blocking. Okay? So that's pretty simple. Like that. Let's do 6 of those together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can see that. Let's have Gabriel come in here. This can be against a variety of attacks. Today we're going to do it against an uppercut punch. If he comes in, go ahead, Gabriel. We're going to step back and block it like that, and you can see how that works. Let's do one more. That's a downward or a push down block. And you can go from there. You can follow up with a vertical punch or follow in with how we want to do this, okay? That's very good. Let's have Gabriel come in. I just realized we didn't have him do any attack when we did the upward block, okay? So let's have Gabriel come in with a high punch, and I'll show that to you real quick. I can block that with an upward block. You can see I've got my shield there. We've talked about that shield several times. I got it for the upward block. And it's the same shield that I have on an inward block, same shield that I have on an outward block. It's just right there going upward. Okay, let's do that one more time. Let's say he was coming in with a club to strike me with that club. You can see that I've got that angle right there, and I've blocked that. So that's the upward block. I think with that, thank you, Gabriel, we've covered everything. That is all of the blocks that are required for the yellow belt. If you can learn those really well, you can see how fast we can progress through the yellow belt rank and get you ready to test. If you have any questions on these, you should have my phone number. Call me. I'm more than happy to go over it with you. And if I need to, I can even stop by your house and we can straighten out whatever you're not understanding with that, or answer any questions that you have. So with that, I'll see you at class next week. Thank you for watching our video, and we'll talk to you later.